Hello, I'm Nostradamus, and this is a Foreign Age News Early Autumn Special Weather Report. Now, before I begin, I just have to let you all know tonight I'm completely sober, so don't expect any of me usual humour. But to get to lighten the mood, I did this little picture for you earlier on today. Now, there's a couple of things I want to go through before I get onto the weather. And the first thing being the health of the Arctic sea ice, namely the volume. And I found this nice little website, Polar Portal, which has got all the required information. So if you go onto it and sea ice and icebergs, and there's a up-to-date, that's a day old, sea ice thickness. Let's just try and expand this a bit. Should have been a bit better prepared. Now, as you can see, after they reported it being at its minimum, it seemed to start recovering above record levels, but the last week of September, it looks like it's levelled off, and it's not recovering very well. So if this doesn't start recovering soon, it's going to stay at record low levels. So that's from Polar Portal. Very good site for information. Now it's time for Nostradamus' cow fart report. Hooray! Now, before I get on to my graphs, I just want to show you the raw data I've collected from the NOAA website on the two satellites, morning and afternoon, which I record each week. And this is from September's data. I just want to show you what's been happening. So I was collecting my data each week up to the 7th, and we had this upward trend, slowly increasing concentrations of methane in the atmosphere. This is near the ground. At 931 millibars. And this column's at 706, and this column's at 477, and this column's higher up in the atmosphere, where most of the methane collects at 300 millibars. So as I was saying, going along nice up to the 7th, and then on the 14th, the Met-Top 1am was showing little change on the week before, and the Met-Top 2 was showing a decrease of about 3 parts per billion. But the Met-Top 2 morning at 931 millibars shows an increase of 8. But the Met-Top 2 PM one at 300 millibars showing a decrease of 8. And all these figures was all over the place. up and down, which reported in one of my previous videos. And then on the 21st, the METOP 2 satellite was on the blink. There was no data at all, so I was thinking about giving up doing me methane reports altogether. Then I've checked again today, and we've got new data in. And it's showing quite a significant rise. So I've put that into the Dumatron, into my graphs, and I'm going to show you the results. Oh, before I forget, I just wanted to show you this. At the 477, and especially the 300 millibars, the difference between the two satellites. And just for instance, on the latest data, 1,910 parts per billion, 1,910 parts per billion. These two readings are in agreement. You go into the METOP 2 satellite and it's as low as 1870, 1874. So we're talking 36 to 40 parts per billion lower readings. And this has always been, since I started taking readings at the beginning of March, there's always been this 30 odd difference between the two. And I don't know why, because this should be an agreement. I don't know why they should be different. All the others are close together. The readings, well, you get this big difference with the METOP 1 satellite giving higher readings than the METOP 2 satellite. But I just take an average. So here we are. Here's my graph showing the trends in the methane concentrations over all levels in the atmosphere, and the actual plot of the graph is a 3-week moving average, so it smooths out any rogue figures or anything like that. So as you can see from here, which was June, it started rising steadily and steeply, and then on the 14th is when the figures went haywire, and the 21st is when one of the satellites was down and they had to go off the figures from one satellite. And is the latest average reading. So you can see my 3-week average is going off these figures that aren't really true. But you just imagine where today's figure is on the graph, 1855.6, which puts us about here. So as long as the data keeps coming in regular and not messed up, we can expect this graph to smooth out, and actually looks like it's accelerating. It's supposed to reach its peak in November, so we'll see about that. This graph showing the actual averages of both the satellites at the highest level I'm taking readings for, at 300 millibars. And as you can see, this was rising quite steeply, and it's averaged about 2 parts per billion per week. Now, towards the end of August, it looked like it had peaked and was slowly coming down. And then we had the ambiguous readings on the 14th, and then no data from the METOP 2 satellites. the latest figures show that it's resuming its upward curve, and you don't know whether to believe the METOP 1 satellite or the METOP 2 satellite, because the METOP 1 satellite remembers showing figures of 1,910, which would be near the top of the screen somewhere. And now it's time for the weather. The New York Times. Just refresh this. Make sure it's up to date. 40 inches of snow in Montana. It's a February storm in September. September. It's going to be a bit chilly in Montana. A powerful winter storm socked much of Montana with a wave of heavy snowfall on Sunday, with weekend totals climbing to 40 inches in some places and breaking century-long records. Never mind that it has only just turned to fall, Governor Steve Bullock declared a winter emergency as cars skidded off highways, communities lost power, and farmers despaired at the damage to crops that were still in the ground. It's a February storm in September, said Jeff Moore, the superintendent of Glacier National Park in the state's mountainous northwest. We're used to this kind of storm, just not this time of year. Careful on the bridge decks. Wet roads are still dangerous roads. Thankfully, everybody in this car is okay. Bloody lucky. The snowfall totals were staggering for any time of year. 40 inches in Browning since Friday and 38 inches in St Mary. Records were tumbling across the state. Saturday, the National Weather Service recorded snow at the Missoula International Airport. There had not been a trace of snow recorded on any September the 28th since 1893. Great Falls was blanketed by 9.7 inches of snow on Saturday, topping a daily snowfall record of 6.1 inches that had been set in 1954. And that had been in midwinter. By Sunday afternoon, another 4.8 inches of snow had fallen there. We have very wet and heavy snow, which has compacted down, making it look less than 14 inches, said Thomas Pepe, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Great Falls. But we're just getting into round 2 of snowfall. It's starting to intensify again. It's pretty bleak out there. Montanans are no strangers to snow, but the early arrival of this storm was a test even for those with decades of experience with harsh winters. 20 years that I've been here, I've never felt as much angst amongst my community, said Cassie Barnett, 50, who lives near Fairfield in northwestern Montana. The scariest thing is for our neighbours, who are farmers. The crops they had in the ground are now buried in the snow. Oh, that's more crop losses. Look at that. It's like Christmas. Everybody in the Northern Hemisphere is going to have to be ready for weather whiplash this coming winter, because it's going to happen. The extreme weather events are just getting going as the negative feedbacks start kicking in. I discussed these in my hothouse Ice Age video. And if you haven't watched it, I invite you to watch it now. The whole Northern Hemisphere is going to undergo serious climatic change as Mother Earth tries to regulate itself in an attempt to cool off from the global heating that we've caused. Massive variations in temperature as the jet stream goes haywire. Record temperatures, highs and lows never seen before in human history. Mega violent storms. It's all coming. Just a little message to those that scoffed at my video. You will end up with ice on your face. Speaking of ice, just pop back to the Arctic and show you the latest Arctic sea ice extent, which looks like it's starting to recover. But I think a better indication of the health of the Arctic is the actual volume. After all, it's not the length, it's the thickness that matters. Hey ladies. Breaking news, breaking news. I've just found a shocking article in the New Scientist. IPCC report, sea levels could be a metre higher by 2100. A metre higher by 9 o'clock tonight? Fuck me, that is faster than previously thought. Now, I want to divorce the rest of the show to Hurricane Lorenzo, which I'm sure you've all heard about. I've been watching this storm since it was a little yellow X in the southern Atlantic. Since its birth, basically. And I was going to talk about it in my last video, but I thought I'll leave it a bit longer, and I didn't want to make any wild predictions. And I thought I'll see what it does before I talk about it. So now we're here, we can talk about its past and what it's done up to now, what it's doing now, and what it's likely to do or may do in the future. And we know that these hurricanes are becoming really unpredictable. So who knows what this is going to do. So let's get into it with all the very latest information. History made, Lorenzo furthest east Category 5 on record in the Atlantic. Maximum sustained winds of 160 miles per hour. It's calmed down quite a bit now. It's in much cooler waters. It is extremely rare for hurricanes to become as powerful as Lorenzo in this part of the world in the Atlantic basin. Most Category 5 hurricanes develop in the Caribbean, where the water is typically much warmer than that of the central Atlantic. So this is indicating that the ocean temperatures are getting much higher than normal. The purple hurricane symbols mark where storms were recorded with Category 5 intensity. The large red hurricane icon marks Hurricane Lorenzo much further east than any other Category 5 storm. So this is all the Category 5s there's ever been and their storm tracks. And Lorenzo has certainly broke the mould. And here's the list of all the named storms so far this hurricane season. Barry was expected to be a bit of a bugger. It did. That was a water maker. Dorian, the first Cat 5 of the season, decimated the Bahamas, and then we had a few little ones, weak storms, heading Fernand Gabriel, and we had Umberto, which messed our weather up, like I said it would. We was having quite settled weather, and then the remnants of Umberto come along, and since then we've had low pressure after low pressure after low pressure. Flood alerts all over the country now. Another one's set to move in tomorrow. Chuck it down tomorrow. Again, it's all depressing, this weather. When Imelda and Jerry and Karen, and now got Lorenzo. No sign of Melissa yet. But I don't think she'll be long. Now I invite you to come along to Weather Underground's Wonder Map. That shows you the history of Lorenzo, where it first formed as a tropical depression on September the 23rd, 4 AM in the morning. And it quickly developed. Tropical storm. 12 hours later. Still a tropical storm on the 25th. Just shy of hurricane strength. And the hurricane was born 10 AM on the 25th. Became a Category 2 the following day. It reached 100 miles per hour sustained winds. Straight into a Category 3. Quick intensification. And then a Category 4. When did it get to a 5? Stayed at Category 4. And then it dropped down a little bit, down to Category 3, and all the models and forecasts were showing that no sign of it re-intensification. And then it suddenly jumped up to a Category 5 yesterday. 160 mile per hour winds. And now it's on at this moment in time, it's a Category 3, 115 mile per hour. And now we're into the forecast track. Still a Category 2 tomorrow. Still blowing at 100 mile per hour. Zoom out a bit now. See the big picture. Never had storms like this in that area before. And this is where Weather Underground has it going. Well, by the time it gets off the coast of Ireland, it's just a post-tropical storm. Typical October fare. Or is it? Now, I was saying the weather's been bad since Umberto came along, stuck its oar in. And at this very moment, we've got 180 flood alerts and 71 flood warnings where flooding is expected and immediate action is required. Been on the news, terrible floods. And we've got this for the next 2 days. Weather warnings for rain. Monday and Tuesday. More downpours. How much rain are they expecting? I'm going, let's have a click. Further details, what to expect. The ground's already totally saturated. Much as 70 millimetres over high ground. on top of the hundreds of millimetres we've had already. And then and on top of that, we've got the possibility we direct it from remnants of bloody Lorenzo. Let's take a look at the latest forecast track of the National Hurricane Centre. Click on Lorenzo. Warning course in static images. Still sustained 115 miles per hour, north-northeast, 10 miles an hour, so it's still going to be a hurricane on Wednesday. And then off the western shores of Ireland as a post-tropical depression. Wind speed probabilities. Just this morning, this had this over the country, and now they're expecting it to go swing north. It's 3 a.m. 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. Eternal. I really should be in bed. Anyway, over to tropical tidbits. I'm going to have a look at what the CMC model predicts for Hurricane Lorenzo. Here we are at the moment, Category 3. Let's see what the CMC thinks it's going to do. I've looked at some other models, they're all different. Comes up to the west coast of Ireland and then swoops straight over Britain, just as a storm. It's already changed direction twice in the last few days. Putting back up. When it was down here, they said it was gonna go past Britain, and then the next day it took a little turn in its forecast track, heading straight for us, and now they've changed it again to just miss us again. So I've seen a couple of models where they had it slamming in between Britain and France. Some models have it just flying straight up. But I'm going to tell you what I think it could do. I could be wrong. I'm not predicting a direct hit on Britain for Thursday or Friday this week. I think it's going to follow its current forecast track, cross the jet stream, do a loop-de-loop, join up with another low pressure in the jet stream and slam into the UK. Massive weather bomb the beginning of next week. That's what Nostradamus thinks. This is where Climate Reanalyzer has it on Thursday. 943 millibars central pressure. That's bloody low. 100 mile an hour sustained winds here, the red bits. Has it to the west of Ireland. You see, we've got low pressure here over northwestern Europe. If this high pressure decides to slip away and opens the door for this baby, we're in for a bit of trouble. But that's just conjecture. I think it's going to do something completely different. While we're over here on Climate Reanalyzer, I may as well show you the trough in the jet stream that's causing this severe weather in the northwestern states with these severe snowstorms. It must be getting pretty chilly all the way down to California. Yeah, it's obviously the blob what's causing this. You can expect this weather pattern to stay where it is or keep coming back throughout the winter because of the very warm seas in the northeastern Pacific. You can see here, this is the 2-meter temperature anomaly. Now it's a lot colder than normal where it's snowing. Doesn't look like the sudden stratospheric warming at the South Pole having much effect yet, although Tasmania and southern Australia looks a bit cooler than normal. It looks like it's just beginning to take effect. Let's have a look at the blob while I'm on here. May as well. Where are we? There we are, look at that. North Pacific point, 8 degrees C above normal. Awful lot of energy, raw energy contained in that. That'll power a few storms during the winter. Here's the very latest satellite image of Hurricane Lorenzo. Looks beautiful. It's like a galaxy in space. This planet's buggered. We've messed it up completely. We do actually have a chance. As if we stop everything now. Capitalism's killing this planet. Consumerism. You know, if tomorrow we stopped world trade, we stopped having babies, stopped doing everything, every single person, every country on the planet stopped doing everything, might have a chance. But we all know it's not going to happen. So that's why I think it's too late. I'm definitely not a communist, not in the Russian sense of the word. But I think something needs to replace capitalism like tomorrow. And everybody needs to go back to living off the land sustainably. Because the life we're living now is going to be a short one. I believe a simple life is better than no life at all. Mother Nature is holding a gun to our heads. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time, if there is a next time. Bye bye.